a coronavirus update. Barely any of my episodes are about coronavirus these days because I've sort of forgotten the coronavirus exists. My kids definitely have. Yeah, I mentioned coronavirus to my son not too long ago, and he said, "Oh, I'd forgotten about that," because that's Australia. Because in America, they said we want our freedom to wear no masks, and that gave them the freedom to die, which is very tragic. But we said we'd like to waive our freedom so that we can have freedom. That's the way it worked, In America, they said things like, we need to let the virus run riot. We need to let it rip to save our economy, And to some extent, it seems like Australia here, we said we need to wear our masks to save our economy. Something doesn't make sense there. Someone was wrong. Who knows, all the economies are interlinked anyway, aren't they? But I saw a headline today. By the way, that's my shirt. These days, all you need to do is put a shirt on if you've got a work meeting. Zoom, because they can only see this much. You just have to comb your hair, get that shirt ready. That shirt can last for days. You only have it on for an hour. I love clean clothes. I don't do that. Now, we did get an outbreak some 5 or 6 days ago. It started with a single case out in the community, And then that, I think, has turned into about 4 cases, but all people confined in homes so far. Look, in 2 weeks we could have 10,000 cases. That's what the virus is like. So you should never show hubris. In no time at all, we can be a mess. But right now, okay. So there was there's been an outbreak, I think 25 cases all up, most of them inside the quarantined hotel, which is bad for the people quarantining. I feel sorry for them. But I think 4 cases in the community. But we had no cases today, so I think they're going to lift the lockdown today. But I saw somewhere, just on a headline on my computer here, that Dan Andrews, our Dictator Dan, you need a dictator in times like this. He's a lot stronger than someone like Donald Trump, Dan Andrews, because he's willing to go against his base. See, Trump, he was always a weak man in office because he pandered. He was brilliant at reading what the mood of his base was, and he didn't dare do or say anything that would upset them. But Dan Andrews is willing to upset his own people, his own base. He's willing to upset everybody, and that's a strong man. And Trump was a weak man coming across strong, because what he was doing was actually being weak. Look, he probably agreed. No, he couldn't have agreed with absolutely everything. No, we know he didn't. He couldn't have agreed with absolutely everything his base thought. Because there was, Bob Woodward interviewed him for a book called Rage. And I haven't read the book, but I listened to a BBC episode about it. And in there he said, yeah, I'm lying, but I have to because everyone will freak out if I don't, about the virus and all that sort of stuff. All right. Now, right. So Dictator Dan, what's he doing? Well, I think Dictator Dan does as much as he can. We did have a quarantine breakout a while ago. Look, is there anyone in the world who's able to manage this thing perfectly and not have any mistakes? Yes, Jacinda Ardern. I love her. I want to move to New Zealand. She's fantastic. She hasn't put a foot wrong, But besides her, not everyone can be a saint, but she's fantastic. But Dictator Dan, one got away. But he pulled it back. Now, yes, of course, he and his team deserve criticism for letting that outbreak happen. But could anyone else have pulled it back? As well, this is a virus that got away as well as he could. Well, yeah. Various other premiers in Australia too. All right, Australia's a great place in a lot of ways, This kind of balances off the previous episode when I said Australia is a terrible place, doesn't it? All right. But Dictator Dan, as much as he is a dictator, he can only go so far. Speaking of taters, I just pulled my potatoes down there this morning. That's my little potato patch, and got some very nice potatoes. All I've done is pull the potato plants out so far, and a whole lot of potato. I've got about 14 just came up. I have to dig that patch up and get the rest of them. I don't eat potatoes, unfortunately, but I like being a farmer. All right, and we've got chickens too. Hang on, I'll show you our chickens. There you go. 4 eggs a day, right on cue. Healthiest chickens in the world. Everything's organic here. All right, Dictator Dan. Now, I see on the news there, just came up on my screen, that I don't read articles. I don't need to. Because I don't need to get things right. I don't need to be right. Because I'm not trying to make any points. I'm not trying to win arguments and all that sort of stuff. I don't care. I don't care. But not for the purposes of this, this thing here in the public domain. I'm not going to tell you what I think and what I care about and all that sort of stuff, because that's just, this is anything in the public domain. You put in the public domain, you're being stupid putting anything in the public domain. So you might as well act out on that stupidity and stay stupid. Right now, but I see that he is thinking of having dedicated quarantine facilities, Now, a fair few people have been saying that all along. Why not get Bonagilla getting that going again or something like that, just a concentration camp of some sort, because, that's the opponents of the idea have been saying that sort of thing. It's a concentration camp, if you do that. But the NT's doing it. They've got that down at Howard Springs. I went to Howard Springs as a kid. My dad took me there. I flew the aeroplane. It's unbelievable. I actually sat on, my father was a flight engineer, but I sat on the pilot's knee. And I actually held the thing. And I wasn't quite sure whether it was on autopilot or not, but I think it wasn't. They assured me it wasn't. And I think he took it, look, I was only about 9 or something, and I think he took it off, and he had his hands right there, but I was actually steering a plane. Those were the good old days, before 9/11, where you could do a few things. And I think I steered it for a good 30 seconds, 727. Anyway, be that as it may, 270 odd people, their lives in the hands of a 9-year-old. I could have gone, pushed it forward, the pilot was like, no, pull it back, and I said, no, I'm stronger than you thought, aren't I? Fantastic. See, if only as a child you were as smart as you are when you're older, I didn't have the guts. All right, now, look, I think they're talking about forgetting about Melbourne Airport and just doing international flights in and out of Avalon, which is a remote airport we've got. Sorry, Geelong. And also having a sort of remote quarantine facility, which makes sense. To which people might say, because you can always criticise, Dictator Dan. He looks like a real bastard to me, by the way. Maybe that's what we need. But anyway, if he's such a dictator, why didn't he put that in earlier? Well, there's only so much you can do each step of the way, isn't there? Even if you are a dictator, there's only so much you can push it. Stalin probably pushed it as far as you can. Augustus probably pushed it as far as you can. But even those guys, they knew they could only go so far. And if they achieved, that much, then maybe they'll go that much and that much. And Stalin, starts shooting his uncles and all that sort of stuff, and cousins and everybody else, and his maid and his wife and himself. Whoops. Never made that mistake, did he? Hitler did. The thing is, you could say, yeah, go back in time, Dictator Dan, you should have done this ages ago. But back then, at that time that you say he should have started doing that sort of stuff, putting concentration camps all over the place, there were people saying, absolutely ridiculous. He's suggesting we wear masks. There were people like that, people I know, it is absolutely ridiculous. We put a rag on our, masks don't even work, and he's saying that we should wear masks even when we're not socially distanced, I want to rip my mask off when I'm not within 1.5 metres of another person. I want to put it back on when I come within 1.5 metres of a person. It's ridiculous walking through a park by yourself and wearing a mask. How stupid can you get, So he had that sort of pushback. So what were the chances he was going to be able to push through a concentration camp, if you had people saying stuff like that? But we've solved the mask thing because it's been proven to work, and even if you are walking in a park alone, it has been proven that that's wise, because you're not going to pass any virus on to anyone. But the point is, we can't be trusted to put the mask back on when we do, pass someone else on the path. People don't do it. This is what they're claiming. Oh, I'll put it back on when I come within 1.5 metres. But then someone comes, to hell with it, it's in my pocket. Yeah. Oh, g'day, George. Whoever. How you going, mate? Yeah, shake hands. Oh, you're not wearing your mask. Oh, oh well, I've been watching Donald Trump YouTube clips. I don't really need to. Yeah, that's what would have happened. So we had pushback on masks, as if they were stupid, and as if they were Illuminati and deep state and all this sort of stuff, So if you're going to get pushback on that, what chance Dictator Dan putting in a concentration camp as a quarantine facility? No chance, So you have to, these things have to, what's the word for it? Percolate? I'm sure there's a better one. These things have to percolate. These things have to gestate. What does beer do? These things have to brew over time. And eventually you get to a point where everyone says, yeah, we need concentration camps because, we can't live like this. An outbreak in Victoria, and the whole of Victoria has to be shut down. No, it doesn't. Well, yes, it does, And even in rural areas, it was shut down, even though, they could have just locked down Melbourne, couldn't they? But as Dictator Dan said, look, if I had announced a lockdown of just metropolitan Melbourne, what would everyone have done? They would have shot through before midnight, because if I had announced there's a lockdown as of midnight tonight, snap lockdown, that's as snappy as you can make it, what would everyone have done? We would have had traffic jams out of the city and everyone heading for the coast, and up to the Murray and all that sort of stuff, and and then we would have had a problem in rural areas. So the reason we do things like force people to wear a mask even when they aren't within 1.5 metres of other people, and even when they aren't in the location where the virus is because people are thicker than we are in government, and it's true on average. Our government is much better advised and much smarter and much wiser on the question of virus than the average Victorian. We're not that smart, even though we say we are on Facebook. We're not. We're a bunch of dummies. Of course, there's a lot of smart people amongst us. I'm not one of them, but there are enough stupid people to force Dictator Dan to go harder than even the science says to, and because there's psychology involved too. So it's just, we're in a percolated state. We're ready for hotel quarantining in a remote location, concentration camps, and flights in and out of Avalon only. We're ready now, maybe. Let's see, So that's my take on that article I saw. Well, the headline to it anyway. I don't read articles. I haven't got time.